15-0. It never felt so good. I mean, what an experience, folks. I'm sure if you're listening to this, a lot of you were there. And if you weren't, I'm sure you were elated to see Indiana smash Oregon 56-22 in the Peach Bowl. A game that just got off to an insanely hot start. Mistakes made by Oregon. Indiana capitalized. The Hoosiers offense came out prepared and sharp and ready to go. The defense, obviously, as well. And it was a one-way runaway freight train against the Ducks at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. And now, Kurt Signetti and the Indiana Hoosiers are in the national title game, the national championship. And just to throw a little curveball at the end of Indiana's run, it's going to be a true road game against the
Huh.
Miami Hurricanes at Hard Rock on January 19th, Monday night. The Hoosiers and the Hurricanes, the Canes, the U, in the national title game. Today, Matt and I are going to focus on recapping that insane win over Oregon, maybe give you a preliminary look on Miami, just all of our observations from the Hoosiers' epic win over the Ducks, the consequences, the ramifications, what does it mean, and so much more here on episode 359 of the Hoosier Sound. We're the official podcast of Indiana HQ, recording this edition of the Hoosier Sound on Monday, January 12th, 2026. I am your host, Nithin Krishnan. Here with me is my normal co-host, Matt Lukens. Matt, Matt.
Yo,
I thought it was going to be close. I thought it was going to be down to the wire, frankly. I thought it was going to be a one score, maybe a two-score game. Indiana, full control from the jump. I have not
yep.
watched a TV copy of this game, Matt. I have not seen Sean McDonough's reactions
Yeah,
or
you
Nick
got to be there in
Saban's or
person.
Pat McAfee's or whatever else on the ESPN feed, pregame, postgame. That's where you're gonna help us out here. What was it like watching that game, seeing Indiana get off to an insanely hot start, the Pons pick six, get out to a two-score, three-score lead, keep eliminate Oregon's will late in the second half. Just what are your initial observations, your thoughts of Indiana's sensational, historic, unforgettable win over Oregon in the Peach Bowl?
Just like every good game, recently, I was working during this game. But I actually did get to catch a little bit of it. I got to catch all of it, all right. But I got to actually like fully witness, fully
Yep.
experience the Pons pick
Oh,
right before my class started.
oh,
And I startled a couple of small children.
oh
Um,
man.
and an old lady who was dropping off her grandson. And then I started dancing with his old woman, and it ended up working out well. But yeah, that was an all-time moment, I think, for the fan base. I mean, you were there, right?
Oh,
I mean, it looked like it was 95%
it
IU
is.
fans.
Yep. Confirmed.
Um,
Confirmed.
and that crowd pop is just legendary. Like you'll see like crowd pop videos from
Oh,
you know from now until the end of time, and that will be on there, right? It'll be the watch shot and
100%.
that. Um, but no, I mean
Yeah.
that game
What I
was
mean
beautiful.
was that the you had the Pons blocked punt recovery for a touchdown against Illinois. That was that prime
Yeah,
time
that was
game
pretty good.
early. In
Yeah.
fact, I think Pons maybe even blocked that punt as well, and then he recovered it and took it in. You had the Pons pick six against Washington, and sensing a theme here. As far as the
I
guy who
mean, the
is,
guy is just gonna like there's some people that don't think that like really don't think he's gonna play on Sundays. Like, guys, he's an absolute gamer. Like, yeah, he's not 6'2", but like if he was 6'2", he'd be the he might even be the number one pick if he was 6'2". Like, that is how good he is as a corner. So, um, no,
unbelievable.
that was just such an unbelievable game. Um, I mean, I'm sure it was annoying for the casual, like, neutral
Sure, you want a close
perspective.
game, you want it
You
down
want
to
a
the
close
wire.
game.
Miami
And
Ole Miss was that way.
I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of, dauntedness inside of me came out after Oregon drove it down, made it look easy on
7-7,
our
yeah.
defense. And I went, man, man, they must have found something in there. They might have
Yeah.
found a chink in
Yeah,
our
they
armor.
man.
Like,
Well,
I wonder what it was exactly. And then they just didn't.
they
I mean,
never.
Dante, we just started to get to Dante Moore, and then
Right.
Dante Moore was just uncomfortable the rest of the game. They also just completely abandoned the run at some point, after it had been doing them very well for the most
Yeah,
part
that
through
was
the first,
shocking.
quarter and a half. Um, because I mean, we just started, our offense just took over the game. I mean, and then obviously, Oregon had a couple of unforced errors, a more, winding back, hitting the running back, fumbling it
Yeah.
there.
Big play. Big
Um,
probably the big that yeah. That was probably the
the other fumble. I
self-inflicted
mean,
knock out punch.
but this IU team, we play so fundamentally sound, and I
Sharp.
know
Yeah.
we like to talk. Yeah, we talk about that a lot when we talk about basketball, just like doing the basic stuff right.
Yeah.
And it's weird to have a football team that actually does it. Because we've been waiting for a basketball team that to do it since, Tom Crean left, even before Tom
Mm.
Crean was there, because Tom Crean teams would do all the
It would
basic stuff
be
correctly.
erratic. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we got a football team in the make and
Yeah.
mold of what we've always wanted the basketball team to make. But I'm not even going to talk about basketball here because basketball doesn't even deserve to be talked about, especially after their recent performance. I don't want to talk about them.
Mm.
But I mean, we have the fact that when I started this podcast,
Yeah.
we actually talked a lot more IU football than we did basketball because it
Yeah.
was prime Archie era and
Yeah.
no one wanted to
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had like,
A
that
decent, 18,
awesome
like
2
19,
years, the
20.
18,
Yeah.
19, 20, the decent run.
Yeah.
So this always was basically a football podcast. But if you had put a gun to my head and
Yeah.
asked me which men's team
Right.
would be the next one playing in a national championship game, I guarantee you I would
Yeah.
have said
For
basketball.
sure.
Um,
Absolutely. As a
and
couple
here we
years
are,
ago.
folks.
Couple years
Here we
ago.
are. We are
But
preparing to watch this team walk out onto the field in Miami to a crowd of absolute buffoons that are Miami fans and billionaires because the only people that can afford to go to this game have about, at least $150,000 in
Mr.
discretion,
305 Pitbull.
discretionary funds. Right.
Mickey Arison.
S-
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Pat
by the way,
Riley.
if you're, I, I'm a South Floridian here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you guys are going to the game in Miami, you don't even have to go to if you're getting like you're tailgating outside,
Yeah.
whatever,
Going for the
stay
vibes.
safe, please. Hard Rock Stadium's not in the nicest neighborhood, and on top of that, Miami fans are notoriously awful people. Um, like I'm talking like the bad rap Eagles fans get is deserved. Miami fans deserve about 75% of what the Eagles
Mm,
fans get. That is what they are to opposing fans. So please stay safe in Miami.
yeah.
They are not all bad, but they have a very loud
Yep.
sub-majority
Yep.
um, that are not so good. So please stay safe. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
There are going to be a lot of IU fans there. It's a true road game,
Yeah.
but I almost think in the
I expect
background,
it's going to be 50-50.
I think so too. Because, behind the scenes, I'm sure, Kurt Signetti is actually using I'm sure, I actually think Kurt Signetti might even be more grateful that Indiana got Miami in the final over Ole Miss. Because if it's Indiana against Ole Miss in the final against Miami, there may be a little bit of, okay, like, we're a 10, 11, 12 point favorite. We're going to be, pretty comfortably better than Ole Miss across the board. And they don't have Lane Kiffin and Trinidad Campbell's the D2 transfer. And You just may not feel, you beat Alabama, and Alabama was in the SEC championship game, and Ole Miss wasn't. Okay, so you might lower your guard just a little bit. Human nature is that way. But now, with it being Miami, you're going to go down to South Florida to their building, and Kurt Signetti is going to have the full, undivided, 100% attention of his entire team because this is a little bit of a unique challenge, right? It's not, hey, we're playing a great team on a neutral site. So we're playing a great team
Right.
at their place. And this is the final
Mm.
challenge for us to win a national championship. So I'm looking forward to seeing Kurt Signetti, this team, really attack that this week. But to be fair, even though it's at Miami, there will be IU fans there. They will travel. This fan base has been unreal during this entire season, especially during this playoff run. I was at Maryland. It was a Indiana home game at Maryland. I was in Atlanta. It was an Indiana home game in Atlanta. And it's funny because Indiana, everyone wants to talk about the schedule. Everyone wants to talk about this and that with this team. Indiana has had one marquee home game in the Signetti era. That's it. That is
Mm.
it. You have had one
Mm-hmm.
chance to play a good team, a great team in Bloomington.
Mm.
IU fans who are even on campus, who are student ticket holders, have not witnessed a great team in 2 years at Memorial Stadium other than Illinois. So when you get a chance to play a team like Alabama at the Rose Bowl or a team like Oregon in Atlanta, IU fans are like, if we have a chance to really tilt the scales here. And wow. I
Yeah.
mean, Atlanta was Bloomington South on Friday. It was
Y-
nuts. I mean, I look, the attendance I think was like 75,000 at the Peach Bowl. That had to be 65 grand at a minimum wearing red
Yeah.
at Mercedes-Benz Stadium at a minimum. And because of the way
That
the
was
game went,
astonishing.
the 65,000 people were dominating the noise as well. Like you said, Oregon had the one touchdown drive early, made it 7-7. Um, but Indiana, especially D'Angelo Pons, I think sort of extracted the spirit out of the 10K or so Oregon fans that were there. IU fans were not only 90% of the crowd, 95% of the crowd, but they were about 99% of the crowd noise because Oregon fans just never really got into it, right? You never really had a chance except for the Jamari Johnson touchdown to start the game. That was a scene unlike any that I have witnessed as it relates to IU fans filling out a stadium, really fervently supporting this team. And again, Pasadena's not all that close to a lot of you, and Atlanta is not that close to a lot of you geographically. But it was crazy, because I drove down, and it was crazy to see like as you got closer and closer to Georgia. And he got across the border. He got towards Atlanta. I mean, the license plate. I saw more Indiana license plates in Atlanta than I did during, the times that I lived in, Illinois suburbs in Chicago. I mean, like I saw so many, so many Indiana license plates and bumper stickers and, car ornaments and things like that. Just heading to Bloomington. I'm sorry, there you go, Freudian
And
slip. Just heading to
there you go.
Atlanta. Yeah,
Nice.
there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Yeah, perfect. That checks out. The game, I was at the IU Kentucky Watch Shot game. That will always be the craziest atmosphere I've ever been in, just because it was in Bloomington and the hype for number one team in the country coming into that building was through the roof, and then the game was insane. This was number two. I mean, for Indiana to have just as big, if not even a bigger home field advantage in Atlanta, freaking Georgia compared to
Then we
Bloomington.
do in Memorial Stadium. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, absolutely madness. The game itself, Indiana goes out there. Obviously, the Ponds pick six, transcendental. I mean, out of body experience. You were mentioning the crowd pop. It was even louder in person. It was funny because like the pick, it wasn't really like a tipped pass. It wasn't sort of a flubby interception. It was like your
It was so
classic,
clean.
Pons knows exactly where the ball's coming, and it's up to Dante Moore if he's going to actually throw it that way or not. And once Dante Moore let that ball fly, you were like, this is done. This is over, right? Pons has
Yeah.
a better chance of catching this ball than the receiver does. And if that's the case,
Yeah.
Pons is going to make the play. Um, yeah, and you knew he wasn't going to get tackled after he picked it off. So,
No,
you
it
sort of
was
turned around as soon as he picked it off and he started high-fiving and hugging people in your section because you were just like, "Oh my God, is this reality? Is this actually where we are right now? Is this actually how this game is going to start?" 7-0 in the most epic way possible. Um, you could feel an hour and a half before the game, Indiana fans are ready for the game to get started. I mean, kickoff is at 7:45. IU fans are filing in. The gates open at 5:30. Fans are filing in from that point. You were just ready. You were ready the entire game, like the national anthem. you know, people were people were like revved up, ready to go. They were like, "Let's get this game started." I mean, there was there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of anticipation, almost a little bit of anxiety. Let's get this game started. It's Indiana, Oregon. I mean, two of the elite programs in college football going back to the start of last year, and then Pons just exploded on that pick six to put Indiana in front. Just an unbelievable delusion across Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Extremely loud, extremely deafening. But Matt, as you mentioned, Oregon did tie it up, and then I was just really blown away after that point how incredibly impressive Fernando Mendoza was the entirety of that game. I mean, Dante Moore's a really good quarterback.
professional.
He's going to be in the NFL. He's going to be a first round pick. I don't know if it's going to be in 26 or 27, but he's going to be a first round pick. I just saw Dylan Raiola committed to Oregon, so
He
we'll
should go
see.
this year.
We'll see. We'll see what Dylan
Wait,
Raiola.
really?
He just committed to Oregon, so that to me reeks of Dylan Raiola is going to start in 26. I did
I
hear
hate
rumors.
that fit.
I did hear rumors of Dylan Raiola redshirting a year behind Dante Moore. Come on, that's not happening. Um, that to
What?
me
What?
smells like that to me smells like Dante Moore is going to the NFL. Dylan Raiola is going to take
As you
over
should.
in 26. But as far as Dante Moore is concerned, he's a really good quarterback. He's going to be in the NFL. He's going to be a first round pick. He has a lot of skills, a lot of traits. Fernando Mendoza was considerably better.
Mendoza was the professional athlete in that game. That was a professional performance. Like he had three incompletions, two incompletions.
Three.
Didn't need to three. Didn't need to throw the ball a lot. When he did, it was on time,
Perfect.
on target, perfect placement every single time. Just about as complete of a quarterbacking performance as I have ever seen at any level, high
Yeah.
school, college, NFL. Like, just perfect. When he needed to scramble, he scrambled. When he probably shouldn't have done a spin move, he did a spin move and it almost worked. Like basically everything he touched came up, aces, right? Um,
Exactly.
in that game. And I
They
mean,
all
he won the
it was
Heisman for a reason,
perfect.
and
Perfect.
I'm glad he did. And now we're sitting here watching him play like the Heisman Trophy winner he is. And now he gets a chance to go home, win a national championship in front of the family and friends and everybody from his local high school.
Ah,
Um,
Pons too, by
storybook
the
ending.
way. D'Angelo Pons, the
Hans too. I
Miami
mean,
Miami guy.
there's a bunch of guys from our team that are all South Floridian. So yeah, they'll be pumped
Man,
up and ready to go for that game. But
for
back to
sure.
Mendoza.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
clearly he's number one pick. If anybody's
Clearly.
sitting there arguing whether it's Moore or Mendoza, just show them tape from this game. Moore looked rattled after that first touchdown drive. He just did not look comfortable at all. Mendoza, even with Oregon would bring pressure at times, even with pressure in his face,
Tosh
didn't
LaPoy's a
seem to
very good
phase him.
defensive coordinator. He's going to be the head
Yeah,
coach at Cal next year.
they couldn't get they couldn't get under his skin. They tried. They tried really hard to get under his skin. They could not rattle Mendoza. He's in a flow state right now in games. You can watch it um from the Rose Bowl to this game, both games. He's just like sitting there and it's almost like the game's going at like half speed
It
for him.
is.
You can just see him. He's sitting there, he's sitting comfortable even when somebody brings an extra guy off the edge or they bring a corner, they bring a safety down, they maybe bring three of them, he's sitting back there making the right read
Yeah.
pre-snap. It's he's in a rhythm right now and it's
Yeah.
working out well, and I would be terrified to be Miami to play him with the in the form that he's currently in.
I mean, I really liked a couple points you made there. The mental toughness for Mendoza has been sensational. And yes,
Mm,
his preparedness is right now at an otherworldly level. After the game, he gave credit to the scout team. He gave credit to, the tight ends, the offensive line, Pat Coogan,
of
Riley
course he did.
Nowakowski. He knows how valuable all these guys are, even if they don't have the most gaudy numbers in the box score. Um, it was incredible to see Fernando Mendoza play. Flow state is a perfect way to put it. Um, Running the ball, keeping plays alive, even the occasional plays where Oregon got immediate disruptive pressure. He escapes the pocket, but like you said, the game's going at half speed. He's pacing himself correctly. He's not rolling
Mm,
out too fast. He's giving his receivers a
no.
chance to get to the sideline, and he finds a guy like Omar Cooper. I think even Nowakowski had a catch, sort of a bailout, on a bailout type play where Mendoza escapes the pocket. He gives Nowakowski some time in the scramble drill. The first down run from Mendoza or in the first half was awesome down the left side of the field. Um, he's doing it in numerous different ways right now. He threw the deep ball to Becker for the touchdown.
Yep.
Um, he threw a beautiful 1 yard, whatever it was, like a slant to Surratt.
Mm.
As Surratt is going down to the ground, that's all part of the play.
Yep.
You don't want to give the defense a chance to knock that ball out. He's placing the ball perfectly on a variety of different plays. Um, the double move by EJ Williams, perfect ball placement by Mendoza. The out route to Cooper to go up 14-7, perfect ball placement by Mendoza. Again, the deep shot to Becker is the one that I'm going to be replaying a lot as Charlie Becker dunks on Brandon Finney. I'm going to be replaying that one
Mm.
a lot. Perfect ball placement. If Becker doesn't come down with it, it's an incomplete pass. You just move on to the next play. Um, just epic quarterbacking from the best player in college football this season. I don't care who you like on your team. He's not as good as Fernando Mendoza has been in 2025. So, and of course, now through 2 games in 2026. Just unbelievable play. Again, the stat that's going around, we even mentioned it on Indiana HQ. 2 games in the CFP against Alabama and Oregon, 8 touchdown passes to 5 incompletions. I mean, these are two real football
What
teams,
else can you say about him? Yeah.
two confident football teams. They're in the playoff, they're in the quarterfinals in Alabama's case, in the semifinals in Oregon's case. The one thing I will say, Matt, and you sort of mentioned it too, Mendoza didn't throw it too much, like 20 pass attempts against Oregon. And as you look ahead to Miami, so you're talking about a little preliminary preview into the Canes. Um,
Mm.
Miami's weakness is their run defense. They're very sharp as far as their secondary is concerned, as far as pressuring the quarterback is concerned. Feels like the way to beat Miami is to find gaps, run it between the tackles, run it off tackle, find different creative ways to run the ball. As usual, Kalon Black, Roman Hemby, the offensive line did a great job in that department. I'm just curious, Matt. It felt like Hemby was the game changer against Alabama. Kalon Black was the game changer, the really, really effective, efficient running back against Oregon. Black and Hemby spoke to the media before the Oregon game talking about how, hey, they understand it's a hot hand mentality and whoever's playing better that day deserves the reps and they are playing for each other. They're not competing against each other as far as snaps and reps are concerned. I don't think we've given enough credit to this running back tandem all season. Black and Hemby have been outstanding. They don't get many headlines. But Black coming over from James Madison, Hemby coming over from Maryland, it was tough for Hemby, an emotional transfer leaving Maryland when, he really felt like that was the perfect fit for him in college football. Kalen Black and Roman Hemby, I'll take them right there against any other running back tandem in college football. It's pretty
Mhm.
special to watch these guys not only win between the tackles, but win on the perimeter, finish plays, and win that psychological mental chess match against the opposing defense's front seven as well. I can't get enough watching either of these guys.
No, I mean they're they complement each other so well, right?
That's a great
Um,
point. Yeah, that's a great point. They're not the same
they're
style
not the
wise.
same running back. They're not the same style, but they do similar things.
Yeah,
They, their best qualities are similar, where like they're both always falling forward, fighting for that extra yard. Hemby's more of a honestly, Kalen Black's hit more home runs than
it's
Hemby
funny, right?
has,
Yeah. So you're saying there's some similarities.
but 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 Hemby's supposed to be the guy that hits home runs. And Black is the guy who's shorter in stature,
Yeah,
but he's a tougher runner than
yeah,
I think Hemby is. And I think Black has hit more home runs. And I think Hemby has turned into a tough runner. I think they're sitting there in the running back room and they're learning from each other. They're watching each other do reps. They're learning tricks of the trade. That slowly throughout the year, I feel like they have meshed into like the same running back, even though at their
yep,
cores, at their skill sets, at their builds, at their
yeah.
everything, they are supposed to be
Foundation.
very different.
Yeah,
Foundationally, they're supposed to be very different, but they both work so well within this offense, and they complement each other so well. Um, I
pretty
I
awesome
came
to
into the
see.
year
Yeah,
expecting the running back room to be one of our better rooms. I thought the wide receiver room was probably our best room, maybe on the team.
yeah.
Um, and I
I
thought
can
the
see
running
that.
back room was maybe second there
Yep,
with maybe this, corners and our secondary, right? Um, they maybe haven't been the second best room because I think the quarterback room has been fantastic
well,
because Mendoza's
gosh,
ended up
my
being
God, yeah.
better than I thought. But
Linebackers have
their
been awesome.
linebackers have been way better than I thought they'd be. Offensive line has been significantly
So
better
good,
than what I thought they'd be.
so good.
Defensive line, I was like, I don't know how we're replacing CJ West.
Uh,
Boy, was I
man,
stupid.
wow,
Running back room is still up there in the top three or four rooms um
it's so
on this
good.
team. They're special. They never here's something that confuses me because as an Eagles fan who has watched both good running back and offensive line play together and
Yeah,
good running back play and bad offensive line play together, it baffles me how these guys never miss a hole
yep. See the lane, hit the
ever.
lane. See the lane, hit the lane. See the alley, hit the alley.
They don't ever try to do something fancy. I have never once seen one of these, two running backs, Black and Hemby. I have never seen them try to get to do some fancy feet, freaking twirling around. I've never seen it
Me neither.
the whole season. They're so well coached
They make
to
guys miss.
see
They're
the hole, hit the
elusive.
hole.
They're elusive.
They're elusive. They're elusive, but they're never, it's not in a showboating. They're never trying to do too much. They're doing
Right.
just what they are told to do and just what the play needs. Never anything more, never anything less. That's why they don't fumble the
Finish,
ball.
finish,
They're
run
not out here
strong. Yeah.
doing they're not out here hitting circles. They're
No.
not out here,
R2,
you know,
L2, L2,
R2
L2,
L2
R2.
R yeah, L2 R2 like yeah, they're not doing any of that. See hole, hit hole.
Yeah.
If I have to, make guy miss.
Make a
If
guy
I
miss.
don't, I'm
Protect the
putting
ball.
my shoulder down and I'm protecting the ball and I'm falling forward for a 5 yard gain.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Absolutely. What if I told you, Matt, Indiana's starting running back this year had over 2,000 rushing yards? That'd be a pretty good college football season, wouldn't it? That'd be
Well, I
like
mean,
pretty
it'd be an
historic.
all time-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know where I'm going with this. I mean, combined, Hemby and Black over 2,000 rushing yards this season at over 5 yards a
Yeah.
carry, 17 touchdowns on the ground. Neither of them have a receiving touchdown actually, so 17 touchdowns on the season as a whole.
Neither of them have a fumble
They've tacked on, yeah, they've tacked on 200 yards as receivers, but like you said, um, fumbling not in their vocabulary at all.
I feel
And
like now that we've talked about it, it's bound to happen in the
I
national
mean,
championship
maybe
game.
like
But
you're right. Like at some point you're going to, but at the end of the day, though, it is like a process thing. It is taught,
mm,
and I think that's what that's what our point is that like these guys are very much um foundationally so strong as far as the type of running backs that they are. Again, they're not going to get the all conference accolades, right? They're not going to get the all American accolades. They just aren't.
because they're sharing reps.
They're
Yeah.
sharing the reps, and down the road, we're gonna hopefully be watching Kobe Martin do that with Turbo Richard and maybe one or two other. Like we don't know, right? Like it's gonna be, that's all stuff we're gonna cross later on. But as far as
The f
Indiana's incoming transfers and everything, we're like, that's gonna be part of it, and you're gonna have to be willing to share the love on this team if you want to be an Indiana Hoosier under Kurt Signetti. I think
I
that's
mean,
it.
they they play, yeah, they play unselfish. The entire team plays unselfish. No one makes any selfish plays on this team at all. Mendoza's out here, I just think back to the first play against Ohio State where he
Yeah,
just gives up his
yeah,
body to
yeah.
make a throw. That's the Heisman Trophy winner. Before he won the Heisman Trophy, knowing
Yep,
if he gets injured in this game, there's
yep.
there's a 0% chance he's getting an individual accolade,
Right,
right?
right.
Or
Exactly.
maybe not a 0% chance, but there's a very
It's
slim
not
chance of
likely,
getting,
right?
yeah, not likely. First play of the game, just lets himself get absolutely clotheslined by Caden Curry to get a completion, right? On the
Yes.
ground, gets back up, gets back in the game. I mean, there's so many people on this team all year long that have done that. Omar Cooper gets injured in the Ohio State game, works his butt off to get back, has a fantastic last two games in the Rose Bowl and in the Peach Bowl. I mean,
Guys
there's
fighting
just
through
so many
injury,
guys fighting through injury for the guys next to them, for the fan base, for our belief in them, for
coaching
Hoosier
staff,
Nation, for the coaching staff, for their loved ones, right? I mean the whole story,
100%.
this whole IU story. I mean, people talk about making movies about it or whatever. I think that's really, really all fine
It's
and
kind of
dandy and a
yeah.
little cheesy, but I respect it.
Yeah, because like, at the on the other hand, you get serious injuries to players like Tyler Morris preseason and
Stephen
Stephen
Daly,
Daly and Kellen Wyatt. I mean, when you're seriously injured, man, it sucks. And if you can fight
Lee
through
Beebe,
it, if you can yeah, Lee Beebe, correct. If you can fight through it, if you can get out on that field for your teammates that cannot play, that I think is a big part of it too. So it's it's pretty impressive. Actually, we're going to talk about the defense a little bit and how they've stepped up a ton since the injuries to Daly and Wyatt. It just keeps coming at you in waves. But first, it's time for Who Won the Week this past week in IU sports. And Matt, actually, you kind of mentioned him a moment ago. How about CJ West, right? CJ West sacked Philip Rivers at the end
mm,
of the regular season, and then CJ West had several key stops in, tough playoff game for you, but it was a good playoff game for him. All right. So we're gonna give CJ
yeah,
West the credit. Okay. We don't have to pay attention to the 49ers, but we give CJ West his flowers, his praise here. As he continues to emerge on that San Francisco defensive line. Um, Guys in the NBA keep doing some things. seen Sydney Parrish, the former Indiana women's player, is doing work on Big Ten Network as an analyst, which is fun. Of course, she
Yeah,
and
she's awesome.
Trisha Whitaker had Mark Cuban pregame on their show, which is exciting to see. Some of Terry Morin's best players do some things. The women's team is going through it in Big Ten play, but actually the last couple games they've improved. They've trended upwards. Tough road loss at Nebraska before a tough home loss to Iowa, both ranked opponents. The Big Ten is so loaded as far as everything is concerned, especially, women's basketball, men's basketball, football. And so it's not easy if you're going through a bit of a transitional year, which is what Terry Morin's doing. We'll see. I think Indiana's going to pick someone off here before the end of the season and give this team a really exciting win they can be proud of.
Mm.
Before you move into the following year. So a lot of good Hoosiers doing things all over the field, all over the court, all over everything as it relates to who won the week. This past week in IU sports. Folks, if you enjoy our show, leave us a review. Tell a friend, share our links. That kind of support really helps us grow this podcast and reach more passionate IU fans such as yourself. You can find us on social media at Indiana HQ or at the Hoosier Sound. Matt, the defense, it just keeps hitting people. They just keep winning reps. They keep winning one-on-ones. They keep playing fundamentally sound. Brian Haynes continues working his insanity as far as the blitz packages and the coverage schemes and the dropping guys and bringing guys and moving guys around, the chess match. I really thought it was going to be back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on Friday after the Ponce pick six, the Jamari Johnson touchdown, the Omar Cooper touchdown. I'm sitting here saying, hey, Oregon's going to be hitting back at Indiana. It's going to be hitting back at Oregon. It's going to be hitting back at Indiana. But Brian Haynes made Dante Moore's life miserable. And if you want to be a box score merchant and just look at Dante Moore's numbers, you're going to be misled. You're going to be deceived. Dante Moore was not reading the stuff Brian Haynes was throwing at him. This defense has gone through injuries. They've had problems. There were certain little setbacks here and there as the entire season went along, going back to even the first play of the game, first play of the season, right, with Colton Joseph against Old Dominion. But man, they are just relentless. I love watching this defense play. What are your thoughts as you watch that defense on Friday night make Dante Moore's life miserable? Not only with the Pons pick six, but Mario Landino on the spot recovering the fumble, Daniel and Ndukwe having an outstanding game, the secondary being as sharp as it was, the linebacking crew. What were your main takeaways from a defensive standpoint for Indiana?
Well, I mean, it's just the best coordinator in all of college football, getting his unit, maybe our best unit, prepared for a game and a team they already played and now has a lot of extra tape on them and just outright kick their butt. I mean, straight up, you give this team, what was it, 10 days, 8 days to
Something,
prepare, whatever
yeah,
it was,
something like that. Yep.
they're going to come out and kill you. And it's what I fully expect them to do against Miami. Linebackers are locked in. I mean, from the first play of the game, obviously Pons had a great game. Oregon made some tough catches throughout that game
Yeah,
on
they're a
Pons.
good team.
Like some hard catches.
They're a great team. They really are. It's crazy. It really is. I
But
mean,
I
wow.
defensive line did a fantastic job, by the way.
Oh, so good.
And Haynes continues those simulated pressures he does where he'll fake, three guys coming on the left side, and then there's a stunt and they move, and there's now three people are coming on the right, and the two on the left are dropping out into coverage, and he throws so much at a quarterback and fakes him out so often.
Yeah.
That has to. I don't know why most teams. I mean, I know why most teams don't do this because they don't have a coach like Bryant Haynes that can implement something like this.
And then match it with the personnel too.
Then
Exactly.
match it with the personnel and get everybody on the same page. And you don't have you don't have a Fisher in the middle. In the middle of the defense, communicating everything just like he's like a coach on the field.
Amazing.
But by God, does that they and the do they work together? To finish my thought. Also, you know, I grew up watching the SEC. I've grown
Yep.
up watching fantastic defenses. You know, I've been a big time college football fan my entire life. This defense zips around to the ball.
Yep.
The speed to the
Pursuit.
ball on this defense, the pursuit is, and I'm trying not to be hyperbolic about this, but I think it's the best I've ever seen of a college football defense.
Yeah.
They
They
literally
fly to the
swarm
ball.
to the ball. They fly to the ball and they fly upfield. Like
Hmm.
there's a couple of times the play that like actually really sticks out in my mind is a bad play
Hmm.
for IU is that 73-yard screen pass that
Hmm.
goes crazy for
Hmm.
Oregon. The minute the Oregon player catches, I think it's Jay Hall maybe,
Hmm.
catches the screen pass, there are four Indiana defenders past him. It was a screen
Hmm.
pass.
Hmm.
It was like a swing pass.
I think Jay Harris. Yeah. That's the one.
Jay
Yeah.
Harris, hey
Yeah.
Jay Harris, that took a second and a half to get out of, you know, from one pair of hands to another.
Yeah.
And we had four guys pass the ball. Like, and any one of them, you know, had
Crazy.
they been a little bit slower, might have had a play on that ball. That's
You
crazy.
play downhill, and you know what? If you're over aggressive, you know it is what it is.
You live
You
with
live
it.
with it.
Yeah,
You
you
live
live
with
with a
it.
big play every once in a while.
It's just Oregon's a great team. They're gonna catch you in uncomfortable spots here, and again, it's the second time Oregon saw Indiana. It's crazy though because Oregon they had just one turnover all season before the game in Autzen Stadium where they turned it over twice. Um, they had three turnovers in the
Hmm.
CFP in the two games
Hmm.
before playing Indiana. They had three turnovers against Indiana. Um, they had lost just three fumbles all year. They lost two against Indiana. And I think the number is something like Dante Moore has been sacked 20 times or something this season, and 10 of them have been against Indiana. I forget the exact number on the Dante Moore sacks, but Indiana just made his life miserable. They made Dan Lanning's life miserable. The defense just keeps coming at you in waves. I mean, how about the game from Daniel and Ndukwe? Multiple sacks. He had a block punt. He forced a fumble. Um, a lot of newer faces. I mean, the stars were the stars. Guys like Pons, Fisher, Mikhail Kamara is really coming on here in the CFP. That's one thing we were paying attention to for the Alabama game. He is really splashing. He is really exploding out there. I think there was a rep that some people have made viral now of him destroying Oregon's left tackle on a pass rush rep and really putting him off balance. I think there was a spin move there as well from Kamara, as far as, immediately just wreaking havoc on Dante Moore right away. Um, the stars are the stars, but you're seeing a lot of unheralded folks really coming along. You saw Caden Turner get several snaps in that game. How about
Hmm.
the performance by Daniel and Ndukwe? As far as the other guys getting snaps, you have Tyrone Burris in there, Jamari Monet's in there. Just you're mixing and matching, and that of course doesn't talk enough about the great play from Daniel and Ndukwe or Mario Landino or Tyreek Tucker, Dominique Ratcliffe, who their snaps, they're not on the field for every single one out there, but when they are, they are playing really efficient football. And I mean, how about, Mario Landino jumping on the goofy looking hip fumble by Dante Moore? He's ready to pounce on it. He's ready to pounce on it if Oregon makes a mistake, and that's exactly what he did. Um, in Duque, Matt, a Georgia native, I can't wait to watch. We talk about, hey, I'm excited to watch Charlie Becker. Hey, I'm excited to watch Kobe Martin. Matt, I'm excited to watch Daniel and Ndukwe in future seasons. There are a lot of great players on this team right now, but wow. Looking ahead, Matt, I'll give you a minute or two here. Who are some of the future Splash Hoosiers you're excited to watch on this team? because you can pick from a lot of different options right now. And 2026, 2027 looks just as promising, if not even more, as what we've seen this year.
Turbo Richard.
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
go.
just for the name. Just for
Let's
the name.
go.
Josh Hoover.
Ah, come on.
I
Come
mean,
on.
we run more RPOs than about anybody else does in the country. Do you know who was number two?
TCU.
TCU, and especially Josh Hoover
Yep.
was number two in
Yep.
RPOs. We got Mendoza, not 2.0, but we got a guy who has experience in a system like ours, who's got better legs than Mendoza.
Yep.
Got better legs.
Absolutely.
Um, who else? There's so many people that we got. Oh, Nick Marsh.
Of course.
How the heck did I forget about Nick Marsh? The new guy we got from Montana State, whose
Carson
name I can't
Williams.
remember.
Carson Williams, the
Carson
corner.
Williams, I'm
Yep.
super excited about.
Brock Shot coming
Apparently,
over from Miami as an Indiana native. 4 years of
yeah.
eligibility to go.
Does he does he get a championship ring from IU?
Oh,
Is he guaranteed a championship ring?
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are
He
there.
does he doesn't get an IU and he's not
I
on the
don't know what the
team.
rules are there. Jaquan Sanks from Cincinnati, Toby Osunsami from Kansas State, Chidi Obi from Kansas State,
All I'm gonna
Josh
say
Burnham from
is
Notre Dame.
we might have a previous five-star on our roster next year
Hmm.
if the crystal balls are to be believed.
Mm.
The Penn State corner.
Sure. Yeah, I know who you're talking. I forgot his
Is
name,
it
but yeah.
AJ Harris?
Yeah, I think that's yeah, something, yeah. I'll get the name here in a sec. But
I feel like every day I get on Twitter after I wake up and I miss like, the majority of the afternoon that you guys are awake because I'm asleep at the same time. And I wake up and it's like Indiana's gotten 17 transfers, here they are. Or Indiana has signed three four-star recruits in the 2027 class. Or it'll be like they're trending for top-rated transfers in the transfer portal. And I look it up and it's like, oh, like literally, it's like a top five transfer guy. Oh, okay, cool.
And then, like, you talk about the guys on this current team, right? I mean, wow. I mean, talk about how exciting it is to watch somebody like Kobe Martin continue to develop. I hope Lee Beebe's able to come back to Indiana next season.
Mm,
Charlie Becker, what a touchdown on Brandon Finney down the sideline. I mean, the evolution of Charlie Becker since the Penn State game has been unbelievable to watch. He is going to be on NFL draft boards after his full year as an Indiana starter in 2026, alongside Nick Marsh,
yep,
as you pointed out. Um, Davion Chandler scored the touchdown against Purdue. Can't wait to watch him sort of grow
yeah,
into his role. LeBron Bond
yeah,
out of the slot. Defense, of course, Ade Ajani. I mean, talk about the growth that he's shown up front. He's been sort of thrown into the fire a little bit this season. I can't
yep.
wait to see him, with the full
Gotten
off
so
season
much better.
full off
Yeah,
season of preparation, really ready to, protect guys like Grant Hoover and whoever else is at quarterback for Indiana during a Johnny's career. Um, man, it's just, and then the defensive guys we just talked about, in Way, Caden Turner, how about Byron Baldwin? Everyone talks about the Pons pick six to start the game. Actually, Byron Baldwin had a big special teams tackle to start the game. If
but
you
I
go
said
back.
it's that was I man, I can't believe I didn't bring that up. That was such a good way to start the game.
Hmm.
Literally the perfect tackle right out of the gate, then into the pick six. I mean, everybody's like, "What?"
Then you're
Yeah,
just,
incredible.
over the moon, exactly. And I'm sure I've missed a couple of guys here. I mean Mario Landino, Tyree Tucker, they're so good. They're so good doing their job. We saw a little Tyrone Burris as Mikhail Kamara was nursing a little bit of an injury. I can't wait to watch Tyrone Burris continue to grow. It is funny. It was funny watching Kamara and Burris sort of swap in and out in the second half because of Kamara's injury. And then you realize that
Mm.
Tyrone Burris still needs to put some weight on if he wants to get into the Mikhail Kamara tier of, upperclassmen destroying opposing quarterbacks. and making life miserable for opposing offensive lines. Tyrone Burris needs to get on the Mikhail Kamara strength and conditioning
Mm,
program here. But of
mm,
course, Burris is
mm,
still
mm.
very, very early in his college career. So
Yes.
that's the exciting part. Like 26, 27, they look just as promising for Indiana as what we've seen here in 2024 and 25. And of course, Indiana is going to continue doing some major work in the portal. So I can't wait to track all of that. And we'll obviously dive a lot more into the portal and all this after January 19th because it's on to Miami right now. Folks, we'll touch on one or two things from a previous standpoint with Miami here, if that, maybe wrap up here. Before we do that, though, let's talk a little bit about a social media shout out. I mean, lots to talk about as far as social media is concerned, but let's just crank up our channels here. Let's bring them back to the surface once again. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Indiana HQ or at the Hoosier Sound. The subscribers keep growing, the shares keep growing. I'm seeing all of you watch our stuff there, so keep please doing so. On Instagram, Matt, we're not Indiana HQ, but what are we?
Indiana.HQ.
You can find us there. Just epic scenes at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. You can find us on social media. You can follow us if you haven't already. It's not just football. We'll move right along to men's women's basketball here, especially after the football season's over. We try to cover these basketball games as much as we can, but um the vibes are high in the football universe right now. So we got we are paying attention to the stuff that you guys are sharing and retweeting and liking, and so we're sort of catering to that as much as we can. I think Signetti and Cristobal speak to the media at 2:30 Eastern this afternoon. I'll be there tweeting out quotes, seeing the perspective that both head coaches have ahead of the national championship game on January 19th. Matt, is there a specific thing about Miami that stood out to you as you've started digging into this matchup? Is there something about the U that you think Kurt Signetti's attention here on January 12th? If you were sort of to summarize this Miami team in a headline, what are their main strengths? What are the main things you should watch out for them? Um, that has allowed them to go 3-0 in the CFP. Feel really good about themselves going into this game against Indiana. What's sort of the headline here as it relates to the University of Miami?
I mean, you have a junior, basically, defensive, NFL defensive line. You have NFL defensive line light. Um, you got really aggressive corners. It's really just a really aggressive defense in general. Um, you've got an experienced QB who I don't think is really that good,
But
but he's
well,
experienced.
compared to
He's
Fernando Mendoza, man, I mean,
I've never liked Carson
so
Beck as a
okay, so let me
player.
ask you this. Okay, would you rather go up against Carson Beck or Julian Sayin?
Carson Beck,
Would you rather go up against Carson Beck or Ty Simpson?
Carson Beck,
Would you rather go up against Carson Beck or Luke Altmaier?
because I hate him. Carson Beck.
Would you rather, and last one, would you rather go up against Carson Beck or Nico Iamaliava?
Nico,
All right, all right, all right, all right.
Nico.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Anyways, my Carson Beck hate aside, they have legit skill position players. They have a fantastic running back. Their wide receivers, especially Tony, are dynamic,
Mark Fletcher, the running back, Malachi Tony at receiver, Keelan Marion at receiver, CJ Daniels at receiver. Very.
and they have been very fortunate
Hmm.
thus far. Outside of they absolutely kicked Ohio State's butt.
Well,
But the A&M and the Ole
all
Miss
this,
game, they
yeah.
were very fortunate to make it out of there with those wins. In fact, they tried to lose the game against Ole Miss, and failed.
3-0
They
against the
are,
SEC. They beat Florida, Ole Miss, and A&M.
oh, I was like, when did Ohio State go to the
No,
SEC? I was so confused for
my
a
bad, my
second. I
bad.
was like, am I missing other news? Dylan Ryler goes to Oregon and Ohio State
Realignment
joins the
strikes
SEC?
again.
And like Ohio State's like Indiana got good. We got to get out of here. We got to go to a place we can actually just
You say
cupcake
that.
walk
You
our.
say that, but I remember my instant reaction when I heard about UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington. I was like, this is fake.
I agreed with you. I had the same reaction, and then I was
This
like,
is fake.
oh, we're just gonna have every team in the Big Ten.
Well, because I think UCLA and USC were first, if I recall. I think they were the first two, and then
Yeah,
Oregon, Washington came a
yeah,
little bit later. Especially when I heard that UCLA, USC news, I was like, you sure you didn't mean like the Pac-10 or like
yeah.
something else?
I was
Like,
like, wait a minute. They're joining where? Who? We're just gaining LA. So we're gonna be the Big Ten Midwest Conference and Los Angeles? What? Yeah,
like,
I
did
remember that.
they not understand what Big Ten West meant? Like, is that different? I mean, I like that
I
though.
mean,
No, yeah.
we should talk about that at some point. The
Yeah, there's a
looking
lot to
back on
cover,
that Big Ten expansion, I
man.
I think it's done the conference really well.
There's a lot
It,
to
it
cover.
has really, really done the Big Ten wonders, and has done
Yeah,
the SEC
crazy,
not
absolutely
great
crazy.
things.
We've got a lot
Anyways,
to talk about in the off season,
we
no
do we have a
question.
lot of I'm this is great. All of this
So good.
content that we have for this off
Oh,
season. I mean, we may never run out of content with this football team. We may also never run out of content given the basketball team's going to need to replace like 11 guys. Um,
yeah, I think there's only 3 or 4 players with multiple years of eligibility. Fun, fun stuff. Um, I like what you said about Miami. To me, I think really Carson Beck, man, he is all over the map. He is very Dante Moore in that fashion. Dante Moore this year had a couple of great elite performances, and then he had a couple that were just awful. And Carson Beck is sort of in that conversation as well. He was good against Ole Miss. He was great against Pitt, great against South Florida, but man, he has had a couple of really rough ones over the course of the season. He's old. He's experienced. He's had, I think, something like 1,400 career passing attempts. And so, that'll be a little bit of a deep dive for Signetti there. But there's a lot of film to look
yeah.
at. You'll be able to pick that, you'll be able to pick on his strengths and weaknesses here. You'll be able to figure those out as this week goes on. Um, Mario Cristobal is a game, I think the headline, frankly, is that he kind of struggles with the game management stuff. There was a extra point he kicked at the end of the Ole Miss game I didn't agree with. There was a timeout that he burned at the end of the Ole Miss game late in the second half that could have really burned the U. Fortunately for them, it didn't. Of course, going back a couple years, he is notoriously infamous for not kneeling the ball when he should have, and Miami fumbled, leading to a loss for the Hurricanes. So, from a game management standpoint, I'll take Kurt Signetti every day of the week over Mario Cristobal. Just as far as the going for two and the kicking and the punting and the calling the timeouts aspect of the game, never mind the actual preparation and adjustments aspect of the game where Signetti is extremely sharp. And then I'll take Fernando Mendoza over Carson Beck. And I really think that's the headline here. We'll dive into this matchup a little bit later on a different episode this week. But I think, well, I'll take the coach over there. I'll take our coach over their coach. I'll take our quarterback over their quarterback. That's really kind of how I feel as far as my early look, going into this true road national championship game on January 19th. Matt, as we wind down here on this Monday, any final thoughts? Indiana's 15 and 0, looking to become the first ever 16 and 0 college football team in the history of the sport. The final challenge is a road game against Miami in the national title. They've beaten Alabama, they've beaten Oregon, they've beaten Ohio State, Oregon times two, beat Penn State, beat Illinois, beat Iowa. What are your final thoughts as it relates to this team?
Treasure, absolute pleasure to watch them. Treasure every moment I get to lay my eyes on this IU team playing football. I'm going to be sad when the 60 minutes against Miami are over, win or lose, because I'm not going to be able to see this iteration of IU football take the field one more time. But just overall, very thankful that we've gotten this experience. And no IU fan really wants to hear this right now, but I'm at the point where I'm so happy if Signetti just says bye after he won't. But if he was to hypothetically be like, see ya
Like
after the
retire.
season,
Yeah.
I would die happy. I don't care.
They say that, but then, right now I hear a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans moaning and whining about one season where they didn't make the playoffs. And I don't know. Look where Alabama is right now, right? I mean,
These are entitled fan
okay,
bases,
okay,
Nithin.
okay. I see. Yeah, yeah. None of those in Hoosier Nation for
We are not
sure.
entitled until we
Yeah.
win about four back to back to
Four,
back to back
four
national
basketball,
champ.
five basketball banners, then sure. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, I mean, just a surreal time for me being in Atlanta for that game. Unbelievable, man. The IU fan base is unparalleled. I mean, just insane to see that many red shirts and sweatshirts and jerseys and everything in blue in Atlanta. I did it again. Was unbelievable. Um, Unreal atmosphere. It was a home game, and not in the 60-40, 70-30 home game that maybe it was
No.
against Ohio State at the Big Ten Championship. This was a 95-5 split, and even more when you consider the crowd noise. Um, it is it is here. I mean, this is the national title game, man. Indiana's got a chance to win a banner. And look, it is it is crazy. There are a lot of great college football programs that have not gotten this opportunity, and they do things the right way. A lot of college football programs that do things the right way have not been here, man. Like I respect what Wisconsin did in the Bielema era. Never had this chance. I respect what Michigan State did in the Mark D'Antonio era. Never had this chance. Never mind what, Penn State has put up, Nebraska, Iowa. We haven't seen them have this chance in years. If not, I mean, Penn State definitely, it's been a long time. Nebraska, it's been a long time since they've gotten this opportunity. And that's just the Big Ten. I'm not even talking about the SEC or other conferences. So that that really hit me instantly after the final whistle against Oregon. It's like Indiana's in the national title game, and there are a lot of other programs who do things the right way that have not gotten this opportunity. So let's see Indiana do it. IU's favored by 7.5. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I hear what you're saying. When the game's over, like this team's not going to be playing another game. So you just gotta appreciate it when you can. But folks, that about wraps it up for our 359 show, The Hoosier Sound. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your support. To hear more fantastic episodes like this one you heard today, be sure to follow us at Indiana HQ to make sure you don't miss any in the future. You can also go to our website, indianahq.com, to find it all in one place. But as always, thank you for listening, Hoosier Nation, and we will see you next time.
Peace and love, go Hoosiers.